What we know is that particularly young women and girls, and I'm speaking from experience from working with girls up north in Fort St. John, in Prince Rupert, in Quesnel, and some of the other towns in the north, that girls are at particularly high risk of sexual violence. They are the most likely to be sexually exploited. I found an old stat from Squamish, actually, back from when woodfibre logging was going on, and the very first year that Howe Sound Women's Centre was in operation, and they did a survey in the community. And in that survey, they quoted that 73% of youth that they surveyed had been approached and offered drugs or alcohol in exchange for sexual favors. That's in our town. That was less than 20 years ago. In 2021, the United Nations declared that the right to a clean, healthy, and sustainable environment is a fundamental human right. Corporations like Woodfibre LNG and Fortis need to step up, and they need to do their due diligence, and they need to take responsibility for the harms and the potential human rights violations that come in the wake of LNG projects like theirs. So the US Bureau of Justice Statistics did a study in 2019, and they found between 2006 and 2012, when the Bakken oil fields grew, the rate of violent victimization, particularly aggravated assault, increased by 70%. In contrast, there was no corresponding rise in that violent crime in the counties outside the Bakken oil region. And in fact, reports of violent victimization in non-Bakken counties was down 8% during the same time period. So there's a direct correlation between the oil fields and the man camps and industry and violence. They also found that the rates of serious victimization, including homicide, non-negligent manslaughter, rape and sexual assault, robbery, and aggravated assault, increased by 30% in the Bakken region, where it declined by 4% in the surrounding regions. Of particular note, the increase in violent victimization by strangers, which is one of those stats that, and I have a background in criminology, that's one of those stats that you look at, and that's a real telltale sign that something's really seriously wrong, because violent crime by strangers is the least prevalent type of crime. So when you're seeing really large increases, you're seeing a level of social dysfunction in that community that lends itself to stranger victimization. And they found in that period between 2006 and 2012 that victimization by strangers increased by 53% in the Bakken region. And violent victimization of Black people and Native Americans was 2.5 times higher than corresponding rates for non-Indigenous and non-Black communities. Most importantly, and what we're really here to talk about today, because I think it's probably the most serious risk that we know of that's correlated and connected to the man camps, is the rates of sexual violence. And they saw a 54% increase in unlawful sexual contact, which was due to statutory rape. And that was sexual exploitation. And that's what we have to look forward to if we see an influx of upwards of 600 men in town and another 600 men sitting on a flotel in the water.